Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So just a few minutes. My colleague is also going to join. Then we will start. Before that, how many of you are thinking to do the household services and how many are thinking to do a quiz master? Oh, those who are doing household services, please raise your hand. Okay, so around four of you are going to do household services. Okay. Better. Okay, so firstly, what we do today, I will be showing you the ways through which we can do the project. First way is using the CDN, other way is using the CLI. So what is CDN, what is CLI, what are these terms and all? So we will start from the very start. Like I will first show you the House of Services app completely made by me. So that was made last term. So I will showcase that, and after that, that is made on CLI. And the other project I will be showcasing is the influencer sponsor engagement platform that is made on CDN. So with by just looking at the projects, you will get to know what is the basic difference between both the apps and what both the ways of making the application. Is it clear?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, Mandolian, have you joined?
yes, sir.
Mandolian.
Yes, sir. Can you repeat?
No, not you. Okay. Because let me just share my screen, then we will start with the demonstration of the previous terms project. One is based on CDN and other is based on CLI. So let me clear one thing. We will be doing the project completely on CLI, but along with the same way, will be telling you that if you want to do it in CDN, then you can do it this way. Thus, the difference is in how the structure of the component is there and how many servers are you going to run. Just that is the difference. Okay. So let me just run the application once.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, just wait for a couple of minutes. The other mentor is joining in a moment. Okay, we can start after that. Maybe you can proceed ahead with the same.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Also, one more thing to add on, I will request other people who are like not with their name should join the meeting with their own name itself. Like I can see user UASN and such names. So try to avoid using such name and come with your original name so that it's good for us to verify as well. Yeah, so the other mentor is already here. We can start now.
Just a minute, I'm sharing my screen.
Din, can you unmute yourself? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so firstly, is my screen share visible? Not yet.
No.
Okay. I hope it is visible now.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Let me share the entire screen instead. Okay, so I hope my entire screen is now visible to you. So these are the two applications which I have opened. These are, as you can see, I have opened two windows here, both for showcasing different showcasing different projects. One is the project of influencer sponsorship engagement platform. Other is household services. So firstly, look at the structure of the application. This is influencer sponsorship engagement platform. In this case, we have made this using CDN. Now, what is CDN? You all know we have used Bootstrap CDN in case of Madden projects. So that is the same thing. Here we are using CDN, Vue CDN. Okay, CDN means content delivery network. So we are using that here. That means what we have done here, this is the structure of this. Like there is a folder called backend, there is another folder which is frontend. In the backend folder, we write all the API. Here are all the APIs which we have created. Then this is a configuration which we have created here. Then this is the mailing thing, how to do email sending. This is the main.py which runs, and the same main.py which we have created in the Madvan project also. This is the models we have created. These are the tasks. These tasks are necessary for you to make so that you can make your full-fledged projects with Celery task also. And these are the workers which you have to initiate. So I will not be doing the Celery task today because that will make you confused like how these things going on and all. So firstly, I will just showcase you the main difference between CDN and CLI and how we will just assign both of the cases. So you see here, one we have backend, other is frontend. We can have the virtual environment inside the backend folder or outside, that is completely okay. And when submitting the project, you already know that you have to remove the virtual environment. Okay. Then other thing is this folder structure is not to be necessarily followed like this, like backend folder and then frontend folder and making this, but we will be doing like this only. And other project, if I showcase you, this is our project for household services. In this case, what we have is this is our we have installed node modules here. So this is our application. In this case, we have created this applications folder in which we have all the Python code for all the files. We just run main.py and we also run one more server which is called Vue. So in this case, we have done the project using CLI, that means command line interface. In this case, we are installing our Vue in our app, in our Ubuntu system. We are installing that Vue here and not using it via CDN. That's why we have to run two servers, one for Vue and another for the Python, which is Flask server. And in the previous case, when we are using CDN, in that case, we have run only one server, which is the Flask server, which just uses the Vue hosted on CDN and applies it on our application. Is it clear? Any doubts, anyone?
Yes.
Now
No.
they Now, why are we going to do with the CDN, CLI thing and not with the CDN? Because just a small difference I am going to show. After that, I will demonstrate the project. Okay. So the small difference comes here. If you go on in this folder, that's SRC, and you see here these files, and if you let's say go in the router and you see here components, these are our components files. You see this is looking better, right? If you look at this code, and instead of this, if you look at this code, this is the front end code. These are our components. Look at this code. Which is looking better? This one is looking better, or this one is looking better? Obviously, this one is looking better because we can see the view, the VS Code formattings here, and all the things like router link and all. And if we are just seeing it here, Then you see we are creating JS files, JavaScript files we have created, and in those JavaScript files we are defining some constant as obviously. Don't worry for these things for now. So the remaining things remains the same, like just difference comes in this thing, the template. This template thing differs in this case and in this case. This is the template same thing, and remaining things you see this thing remains the same. So we will explain you everything what is this and what all. Okay. So let us first run our, let me just check which one is running now. Okay, so for now our CDN app is running. Let me first close this and then run again. Okay. So as you all know that on running the application for the first time, our admin should have created the same thing. Would work here. Okay. So let us see the application. This is our see, this is our insurance posture engagement platform. Okay. In this case, we are not having any user here currently. So let us first register as a sponsor. The sponsor name, let me just check the username. This is gmail.com. Password is 123. This username. This is username to ask. You see, we are logged in as our admin here. Okay. So now in this case, it will show all the things here. So sponsor approval request, you can just approve the sponsor here. Sponsor approved successfully, so it gone from here. So you see here, we have this. These are the similar things which we have created in our Madden project, the routes. So these are the routes. These are the logout thing. This is a summary. Currently, there is only one sponsor and one sponsor. Okay, let us go to home page. And this is our, let us log out from here. And let us now log in as a sponsor. Currently, the sponsor has not created any campaign or ad request. So now let's go view campaign, create a campaign. Let us write the name of the campaign as Any wait. Now the visibility was like public or private. I want to, let's say you want to earn money and create the campaign. Now campaign is visible here. Now inside the campaign, you can have the ad request. Now when we view the campaign, there are no ad requests available. When we create ad request, then select influencer. Influencer is not available yet. That's why it is showing not available as for the influencer thing. So if we go to the, let's log up from here and just register as an influencer. Now the influencer would be available in our sponsor. Let us log in sponsor again. Such influencer, you can see once influencer available here with this all these details. Now we can go to campaigns again, go to view campaign, create ad request with this influencer, ad requirements. This is all how it works. You see, when we will be seeing the out of services application, you will find that there is no difference in how the app is looking in the front end. Just that means in the browser how the app is looking, there is no difference in all that. But how the app is in the back end, how the code is written in the back end, all those things differ. And one more thing, if you are using the CDN, then in that case, you can't have the functionality of add to desktop like thing. Okay, so that is just for the sake of simplicity, I'm giving you the intro of that. So if you want to edit this, we can edit it here.
Can you repeat that?
In case of making the application via CDN, you cannot have the functionality of add to desktop. Like in some applications, you have no seen like whenever you open YouTube in your browser, so you see it shows some download like button here which says add to desktop, right? In some other applications also that button shows here. When you make your application using CDN, you can't have that functionality. That is additional functionality. We are not going to do that, but that is additional functionality. If you want to implement that you can't do with CDN. And also the code look is not good in case of CDN. When you see here, these are not looking well. And even when you try to understand this, it does not look what is better or what is not. So now that because of created, now let's just log out and log in as influencer. Now we can either accept or reject this. You can see all of the campus also. We create ad request here. Let's say we create ad request for this also. Now you see here. You can see plus ad request which he has created himself here. Now you can also search here by the campaign name. Let's say we search for it. No, not found. It is found here. So this is all our application for influencer sponsor engagement platform. Now let us run the application. Let me just close this server. No need for this now.
What you told, like add to desktop, I think it is not anything
Yeah,
required
it
in
is
our.
not required. Yeah, it is not required. Just I have given you for your information.
Okay.
So in this case, we have to run two servers. One is the npm run dev for the front end. Other is the server which is the Flask server. I already ran them earlier, so that's why now Now you see here, this is our household services application. In this case, let's say we have to log in. Then we have admin@gmail.com password again. Yeah, this was that project. Okay. In this case, now you see this is looking like a little bit smoother as compared to the previous project. So that is the benefit of you can get little bit benefit from using the CLI. You just flag and flag things. And even this time you have to make the same project. So create a new service, let's say name. Now you see here, you don't want to edit this, you can just edit this, update it successfully. You see here, we can delete the service also. Let's say delete this, so it is deleted here. Okay. Statistics, these are the statistics. Now let us log in as I think this was the prof one. This is our professional one. So you can accept the request and this even reject the request. A similar thing we have done in our application also. This is just for a logout button here. Okay. Now let us go to our now get as the customer. Now you can close this. Service closed successfully, as you can see it here. Okay, now you can also log out. Now you see here we are logged in the same browser with 3 different users. So
How
this
is
thing also
this
you can,
possible?
yeah, this is possible. We will tell you how is this possible. And this is also possible in the previous Madman project also. Just something if you remember that we have created a session like thing. So if you just use that properly, then you can make that possible also. Just remember that only at a time, only one kind of, let's say if we have two in professionals, then only one professional can be logged in the same browser window. 3 different types of users can be there, but those should be of different only, not just same. Like two professionals cannot be logged in at the same time. Okay, so just the flag thing, if you just flag this customer, so if we try to log in again with the customer, your account is flagged. So it seems a clean UI in case of the CLI. Now you see here it is professional customer the same thing. Just log out from here. This is also let's say log out, and that's all. So you see here, these are the 2 servers which we are running. Apart from that, we will be running some more servers, like one for salary worker, other is for salary B, and then third one is for mail hog. If you are going to do with the mail hog, if you are going to do with the Gmail thing, then you can run the, you can open your email ID and show that emails are getting sent. Okay. So have you all read the project statement,
Yes.
which we are going to do in this term
Yes.
in our bootcamp?
I
Yes.
know that too.
Bootcamp one is the grocery store, and similar thing is what you have done in the previous term also. If you have done the previous matter in previous term, then you have done household services there. So that is just similar to household services. Grocery store and household services both are similar. Okay. So then would you like to start now? Yeah, and one more thing for the Git thing, we will be giving that to you, like how to initialize your Git repository. So tomorrow We will be explaining everything like how this Git repository thing works and how to set up the Git in your system and add the IITM ID, GitHub ID as the collaborator in your GitHub account and create the repository. You can do that using the command line or even using the GUI on the GitHub itself. So that is both things are completely okay. So the thing is you have to make the commit
Is it
like
compulsory?
yeah, the
Hello?
first commit is compulsory. Yes, it is compulsory for everyone from this term. From this term, Git committing on Git is compulsory for everyone. Just first commit is mandatory, and more things you will get to know very soon. Okay. So, any doubts, anyone?
In CDN part, if I do your project CDN part, then NPM is not mandatory and
Yeah,
not mandatory.
NPM is not required then. Yes. So you have seen the structure here. Let me just show the structure again. You see, this what I have created here as applications and all these things. These things will also be put inside the backend folder, and then remaining things like SRC, WSL, and SRC public known modules, all these things can be inside the frontend folder. This white config.js and this package.json, these also things come in the frontend folder. So the thing is, folder structure can be like this as well, or can be like backend folder and frontend folder. You will go by the things like backend folder and frontend folder. That will be beneficial for you to understand the project that this is a backend thing, this is a frontend thing, so that you can correlate those things from backend to frontend. How is this backend working? How is that frontend working? And don't get confused with all so many file structures here. Clear?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, actually, I joined late. At which problem statement we would be working?
We will be working on the grocery store problem statement.
Grocery store.
Yes.
Will that be much more similar to the actual problem statement
Yeah.
such that we can correlate?
Yes, that will be much similar to that. Like for the household services, I have just demonstrated the household services, how the app looks like, how it works, and that was made using CLI. So you have just, for those who are doing the household services, they can just run on it, how it looks like, and you can also add your own things like how the view should look like. Okay.
Okay, so while working on the backend part, as we know, Mat 2 is backend only. So the front end part we will be doing, or I I'm just lagging behind.
You said Mat 2 is backend only. Mat 2 is complete full stack application.
Okay,
You are
okay,
working
okay.
on full stack web app.
Yeah.
In case of Mad1, you have made a backend app only that is using the Flask and Ninja templates. But in case of Mad2, you will be making backend with the Flask RESTful APIs and the front end with VueJS.
Okay, sir. Okay, got it, sir. Thank you.
And some of you were asking in the group like, are we going to use Vue 2, Vue 3, or what, or Vue CLI or Vue CDN? So all those things I have cleared here. Like we will be using Vue with white. There are two ways to use Vue. So one is with white and other is with the npm install, that is the normal Vue way. So white is much more easy to use and that is also not consume much space and it is faster also. So that's why we'll be using white. So that is both the ways are running for Vue only. So we'll be using white.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir, can you zoom little bit?
What thing you want to see?
I want to actually I want you to zoom a little bit.
This code.
Yeah, yeah. Can you
This
zoom
is
the
not
entire
code.
screen?
Pratham, you can stop sharing because that's something not relevant.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Piyush, when we will start writing code, we will zoom in.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so then would you like to
So
start now?
you are done, Pratham, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, thanks for the intro and everything. And very welcome everyone to the Mat to Bootcamp session. My name is Aditya, and I will take the initial sessions of this bootcamp in which we will cover the backend part, means your model, APIs, your Celery task, caching, everything. And Pratham will take care of the front end part. And the reason doing the backend part first, because you are doing Mat2 project. So we expect that most of you have completed Mad1. Now there is a exception that some of the people have registered for both. But if you have registered for Mad2, then at least you have completed the Mad1 theory course that we are assuming. So you don't face much, you will not face much difficulty if we do the backend part first. And by the time Pratham will start taking session on Vue, you will have some background on Vue already with covered in your Mat2 theory course. So if you guys have like doubt why we are doing the backend part first, so that's why. And it is also the correct way to do it, to design the backend part and APIs everything first, then write the front end. So now initially I was thinking to like take this initial things a bit fast forward, but now we have some students who have registered for both Mad1 and Mad2, so we will have to like cover the basic things also. I will not go in very depth, but yeah, like I will cover whatever basic things I can. So when I say basic, like if you are if you guys doing Mat2 project, you know how to set up a basic Flask application. That thing I can fast forward, but again, I will not fast forward that because we have some Mad1 student also. And then you guys are clear with the problem statement. If you have not read it till now, you can visit the website, read it there. And today, I think we have pretty much. I'll say how much time we have left.
We still have more than 1 hour.
It's
Yeah, we have more
yeah
than
we
1.25 hours.
have more than 1 hour. So you guys know we'll have to make APIs in the Mat2 project, right? And I worked on I will be taking session forward based on responses. So please, when I say something, someone unmute and say yes, no, or whatever you have on that thing. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Let me share my screen first.
Yes, sir. I think so. There are many people with both the boot camps, Mat1 and Mat2. So please try to get in that much depth as much possible.
Yeah. Okay. I think I have shared my whole screen. Uh, okay. So my VS code is visible, right?
Yes.
You can see
Yes,
my VS
yes,
code.
yes.
Okay. And if I open my browser, this is visible, right?
Yes. It's visible.
Okay. So yeah, that's fine. Thanks. Okay. So let's go to. So as Pratham has suggested, like we will have a backend folder where we will create the backend, and we'll have a frontend folder where we will create the frontend. So first of all, we are going to work on backend. So we'll create our backend folder, and within that folder, we will continue to writing different stuff. Now the folder I have opened, it's an empty folder, Mat2 project. So it's the outer folder. Now I'm creating backend folder within this. Okay, fine. Now,
I think just
uh,
a minute, I want to ask something. Can I ask
yep,
them? Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
have you all installed the WS in your systems? Like we have already
Yes,
said
I've
this in the
installed
original
it.
session that yes, I have it.
Okay, I think let me give a overview on that also. So
Yeah,
we will be doing all the backend things in WSL. So WSL or Ubuntu, I will prefer Ubuntu. So you can go on Windows Store, and here if you will search for, okay, it's take loading. If you
For
will search
Mac,
for,
we have to download something, or our terminal will work.
no, your terminal is fine. Yeah. So this is for Windows users. Also, there are some critical setups in Mac. So if you have like, so there are people who don't use Mac for like uh, that detail purpose, like development and other things. But there are things in Mac terminal which you will have to set up in order to run the project. So there are some, like I have done one or two setups in Mac with some students. Now I don't remember the things correctly, but there are things like brew and other things where you set different commands and
Yes, yes.
other things. Yeah, so you'll have to prepare your Mac terminal in order to run the project. Okay,
Okay.
but we cannot run all the things in Window terminal for the student who are using Windows. So that's why we
I
will
have
need.
I have to prepare my terminal, as in I have to install the dependencies on that terminal, right?
Yeah.
Using brew or homebrew, I say.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So actually, when you get a Mac, you don't have brew and homebrew these things. Like you'll have to set up the path and other thing
Yes,
like different
yes. Mm.
configurations. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you'll have to prepare it
Okay,
first.
okay. It is already prepared.
Okay, I don't know
so you
if it's
can
taking
unshare
too
your
much
screen.
time.
Just let me let me just give them a intro like how they
Yeah.
can
I think
connect with
yeah.
the VS Code and all these things. Let me share my screen first.
Yep.
I hope my screen is visible now.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So let's say this is your VS Code open. Let's say this is your complete VS Code screen open as usual. So now what you have to do, what all extensions we will be using first. So first extension you have to install is for the coding which you already know from the previous week. Now other thing is WSL. This WSL extension you can just install in your VS Code. That will help you in if you are a Windows user, and then you can install the WSL extension which will help you to connect your VS Code in Windows with WSL. So how can you connect this? Just set up the if you have WSL installed in your app in your Windows, the WSL opens like this. This is the WSL. It is just like a, you can say PowerShell or command prompt like thing. So you can see here we have all these things. So this is our project help folder. So this is our WSL. Now I have already installed WSL. Just go to the Microsoft Store and then download the WSL and just I will share the one video with you. Just use that and install WSL in your system. Make it setup ready. Then after that, things start here. When you install WSL, install the VS Code extension for WSL. And after this, you will see one button here, which is open a remote window. Click on this and click it connect to WSL. Now it will connect to WSL. Okay. Now what you can do, this will work faster as compared to what you will be doing in the Windows. If you are doing the things in Windows and then connecting for making the project with WSL, that will take a longer time because you are doing operations in Windows and other way you are having the Linux environment. So there are two file systems in operating systems. One is Windows, other is Linux. So work you are working GUI, you are working on the with the graphical user interface, you are working on Windows, but inside the Linux. So that takes time to even create the virtual environment and also to even install the node modules and copy the node modules, so all these things which you require in your Viva time. So that's why this is advised to just use WSL Ubuntu here and then open a new folder and then let's open the project LP and then just open this folder. So this is our project folder which
Can
you
you
can see.
show again? I have WSL.
Yes, WSL.
Hello. Can you
Yes,
show that again? How to connect to VSL, WSL?
this is your VS Code. If you have installed WSL in your system, just do one thing. Install the WSL extension also in your VS Code. This is a WSL extension I have already shown you. Just
Yeah.
search for the extensions WSL, connect it with here, and after this, after it get you connected here, then you will can use this button. This button is used to connect to WSL. Open a remote window. You can see here on hovering, it shows open a remote window. Click on this button. Click on this button and then click connect to WSL. It will connect your VS Code, which is inside Windows, to WSL. So whatever you will be doing here in this VS Code window, it will work inside WSL. Okay. And also whatever you have installed in, whatever extensions you have installed in your Windows VS Code, all those things you have to install here again. Like you see here, these are some extensions which are available like Postman extension or this extension which we have used here. If I just close this connection, you see these extensions, some get lost here, right? So this is because you have to install, just like you can think it like two operating systems are there in the VS Code, and when we are making it, when we are using the VS Code in the Windows, you have to install the extensions here. We are using the VS Code in the Ubuntu, you have to use install the extensions there. That's all. And after connecting this, just open the open the folder by going to terminal. This is your terminal. Let's go to the
Hello.
hello. Yes.
Those who are using Ubuntu as standalone, they don't need to do this WSL
Yeah,
setup inside
yeah,
VS
yeah.
Code.
They don't need to do all these things. They can just make their project as usual.
Okay, okay.
This is for those only who are using Windows. So just go this and open the terminal, make the directory bootcamp addo and then done. Bootcamp addo. Now let us create the backend folder. This is how you have to use the commands like mkdir means make directory or make the folder, backend folder, and the same command mkdir and make frontend folder. After this, if you see, if you just go there and open folder, you see project help, Synapse to bootcamp, open this. This is how your project is open now. One is backend folder, other is frontend folder, and now you can do the usual thing which you were doing already, like the backend thing and frontend thing, which Aditya was going to explain. Clear? Now, if you want to create your virtual environment or install the node modules, whatever you want to do, you can just do here. It will take very less time. Otherwise, if you do it in the Windows and then connect it with here and then install all these things, that will take around 10 to 15 minutes, and that's too much for just installing the WSL, for just installing the VS, what we call virtual environment or node modules copying. So better just do the complete thing in Ubuntu itself. Clear?
How to connect on Mac with the terminal?
In Mac, the terminal is already there. You need not to connect it there.
No, 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 no. On how to open that on VS Code, like.
In
So,
Mac, you
so
also see one
Piyush,
button here for
when you open the terminal in your VS Code in Mac, that terminal is by default like Debian terminal. So you'll have to just run the
Okay.
commands only. Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
you don't
Thanks.
need to worry about these things. Yeah.
So then after this, just use the backend folder, frontend folder, frontend. In the frontend folder, I will be working after some days, and then the backend folder, I will be teaching you how to create all these APIs and all this. Okay, so right now you can continue if no one has any doubts regarding this. Any doubts, anyone? Okay, fine.
Yeah, thanks, Pratham, for the setup points. And I will say, don't get like too stressed about these things. Just figure a way. Like just if you can go to YouTube and search for like Ubuntu setup in Windows, and you can continue with there. So that's not a problem actually. Okay, so where was I?
Sir, please, if possible, do share that link also. That would be perfect for everyone.
Sorry, which link?
The YouTube link that you were telling us about.
Okay. Actually, we
Yeah,
were
yeah,
planning
okay,
to
okay.
create a video by ourselves, then to give that. But yeah, if we do that, we will share the link. Okay.
It would be very helpful, like those who are not attending or anything like that, any doubt or it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So we will create them, share.
Yeah. So as of now, how I am going to running the backend. So if you say I have already my Ubuntu terminal here. And one more thing, if you go to a Microsoft Store to install Ubuntu, when you search for Ubuntu, you will get Ubuntu with different versions also. So you will get a Ubuntu with no version, and then you will get Ubuntu with like 22.04, 20.05, and numbers like that. So don't get confused about that, and then don't ask questions in the group like which version to install and I'm installing this if it's not an issue. Just install the Ubuntu only. So if you will install the Ubuntu with no version with it, that will have the latest version of Ubuntu. Okay. By the way, if you install any specific version, that's also fine, but just work with the latest version. So I will be running all the things here. And one more thing, I will be not creating the virtual environment. I have the dependencies locally installed. You can create the virtual environment, and creating a virtual environment should be very simple. And if not, then go and search how to create a virtual environment, because you should know that how to create a virtual environment. And if you want to install the dependencies in your local system, standard practice is to create the virtual environment, but mat2 is like a bit tough project where we have to install different servers, and we have a lot of dependencies. And once you go in Viva, creating a virtual environment, then installing different dependencies takes some time. So that's why I prefer, like, if you want to prefer to install the dependencies locally, that is like good to go. But don't मतलब डिपेंडेंसीज के साथ छेड़खानी नहीं करना है. एक बार डिपेंडेंसी इंस्टॉल कर दिया कि पिप इंस्टॉल फ्लास्क, तो वापस से जाके उसके साथ छेड़खानी नहीं करना है. ठीक है. But yeah, if you prefer creating a virtual environment, please create the virtual environment. Okay. And if I talk about dependencies, like if you are going to install Flask, so you don't need to give any specific version of Flask. Just write pip install Flask and it will install the dependency. Like you will get the latest version of Flask. So okay, I was on backend. So I have created backend folder. Let's create a file named main.py, and let's set up the most basic thing in application development, that is setting a Flask server, Flask app server. Okay, we can continue with that, right? Okay,
Yes, yes.
I will take that as a yes. If you can
Just
see,
take it.
I have a api.md file which I have created to explain you the what is API and everything. But first we will create a basic Flask server, Flask application server. So if I go to the browser, you can see why I am showing these things. So you don't get like confused or stressed, like I'm writing code from somewhere, or I'm writing out of the blue. So you can get the idea like these codes are available, and that's how you do things. So I have just searched for Flask app setup, and we have got this code. Okay, from Flask import Flask. Then now we will refine these things. We will only write what we need. Okay, so just for your reference, that what we are writing, everything is available on the web. You can search, you can go uh, observe things, and you can write it in your own way. Okay, so like to create a Flask application, the first thing you need to do is pip install Flask. I have already Flask, and it's showing requirement already satisfied. Okay, so let's set up a basic application in Flask. So we will import Flask application instance from Flask library. Sorry, what's happening? Okay, and how we create a app instance? Okay, so before doing that, I would like to clear some nomenclature. So when I say instance, it will be a variable which will contain the application or database or some uh, unit of that thing. So when I say app instance, means we are creating our app. So it will be a variable, and app will be assigned to that. Okay, and when I say route or endpoint or URL, these all three are same thing. Okay, so I am talking about these all three means something like this. So this is a URL, this is a endpoint, this is a route, whatever you say. Okay, and then when I say like when I say fetch or hit or request, so these are also same thing. Okay, you fetch a route, you hit a URL, you request a endpoint, you request a URL. So these are pretty much same thing. Okay, so don't get worried like what I'm saying on. Okay, so we will create our Flask app instance, and what I am writing, this is you say like syntax is standard syntax of Flask to create a Flask app. Now I have created a Flask instance, and I have assigned it to a variable named app. Now we will create a okay. How we run our app? If you come here, okay. This in this example we are running app in the terminal, but we will not run in that way. Okay, so how we run it? We will write if. Now for guys who have completed Mat 2, this can be boring, but just be with me for a moment. So when name equal to main, this line means when you will run this file, this main.py file, then only the things you are going to write after if that will run. Okay. And how we run it, we write app.run. That's how we run our application. Now we have created a app instance in Flask. We have written the code to run the instance, but we don't have we haven't created any route or endpoints yet. Okay. And how we do that? So we write at app, and this app we are referencing is the app we have created here. Okay. So we write app.route. Again, this is the standard syntax of Flask. We will say the base URL, and then within that URL we write a function. Now this is the same Python function which you use in when you code in Python. Okay, so we will create a function named home, and let's return a response, and we can say hello world. So I am following the standard practice of saying hello world. Okay, now I can say we have a, so this is the very basic, this is the most basic thing you can do when you create a Flask app. Okay, now let's run it. So we will write Python. So I have Python 3. So usually you get Python 3 in Ubuntu terminal. So we write Python 3 and the name of the file main.py. Okay, I am in backend folder, so I'll have to move into backend folder, cd backend, and then I will run this. Now you can see when I ran the command python 3 main.py, it's saying this is a development server and other messages, and we got the URL. So it's running on http://127.0.0.1. So this is your local host, what we call local host. So this is your local host, and we are running our app in 5000 port. And if you want to change the port number, you can write a port here and you can give a number. So let's open this in our browser. Okay, so when you open a URL, base URL, so it goes to this slash route. Okay, so by default, when you open a URL, you will be redirected to this route. Okay. Okay, so now you can see we are getting the hello world. Okay. Now, if I talk about from the Mad1 point of view, you use HTML templates to return the response. So here you will be using like return render template and then a template name. I can do that also, but that thing I will be fast forwarding. And then so now I'm going to discuss what APIs and other things are. Okay, so this is a very basic Flask application setup. You guys are clear with it, right? How to set up a, if someone say like set up a basic Flask application, this is what you will do.
Okay.
Anyone, any doubt, anything on this?
Okay.
Okay. So
No,
now,
it's clear.
yeah, okay. Now we will move to something heavy. Okay. Now Mad1 guys can get so even if someone has completed Mad1 theory, they should like they have learned the APIs even if they don't know. Like if you have given exam and if you have just studied before the exam, then obviously you will not know. But they have like taught API and every other thing which we are going to do in the Mat2 project. They have already covered those things in Mad1 screencast and everything. Okay, so I think we have already given you the reference in orientation session. Like please uh, go through these. There were two lectures, I guess, 6.1, 6.2 screencast, something like that. Okay. Anyway, so we will be creating API. And now what is API? So I don't think you guys want me to read it, what it's written here. But the primary thing is here that API allows one application to communicate with another application, right? So this point allows one application to communicate with another application. So for Mad1 guys who have completed Mad1 project, for your understanding, if I say what you have created in Mad1, okay, if some other application, if like okay, so if I say you have created a table in your database in your Mad1 project, now you have an endpoint. When you fetch that endpoint, you get some results from the table. Okay, this is fine, right? You render that result in HTML template, right? Please say yes or no at this point. And if you have any doubt, please ask. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you return the response in HTML template. Okay. Now, if I am writing another application and I want to access one of your databases, okay, or say I want to access your services, that you return a list of responses from your table. Okay, now how will I access that? I cannot access that. Why? Because you have created a traditional Flask route. Okay. So when I say traditional Flask route, in traditional Flask route, you create a endpoint and return response in HTML template. Okay. But I don't want your HTML templates and other thing. I just want to get some data from you, right? But you are not returning data. You are returning a HTML template which in that HTML template you are rendering data within tables or cards or whatever, however you are rendering, right? Now
Yes.
how you will provide that service to me, that if I want to access the data, I just hit a URL and I get the data only which I require. Okay. So the process I am
So
saying that
here
I want.
the
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, so here the response is converted into JSON format, and then here also we are fetching the data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it
So
is converted to a response in certain format, is it? How is it different from the?
sorry. In when you say here we are fetching the data, here means where in your Mad1
No,
project or
API, using API.
yeah. So
API.
I didn't reach at that point. So please bear with me. Okay.
Sir, you mean
Okay.
that in Mad1 project, we use the traditional Jinja template and in
Yep.
for fetching the data from the SQLite database, and in Mad2
Yep.
we will be using JSON API.
So please don't move forward. I am right on the API point. So some of you guys have idea what is API and everything, but like you are studying in a group of students, so everyone don't have that kind of knowledge. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I will just after this I will come to those points when we will cover these things like mentioned in front of you. Okay. So what I was saying, I was talking about the communication between applications. Okay, so you have an app, I have an app, and I want to access some data from your app. So that is what we call communication within applications. Okay. So communicate when what it's written here, allow one application to communication with another application. So this is what you mean, like you want to access some data or something from another application. Okay, this is clear, right? Now okay, yeah, this is one of the examples. So say there is a government weather website, okay, which returns weather data. Okay, and if you are going to create an application where you want to use weather data, so there you just hit their API which government has provided, and you will get the data. So you will get the data only. They are not rendering HTML template or other thing. Okay, so that's what API is. It's a way for applications to talk to each other. Okay, I hope like I'm clear with like what API is and communication between different applications.
My doubt was, we are also here, we are fetching the data only, right? We are not communicating with any other app, right? In Mat2 project.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat again? Like
We want
your voice.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting, because here also we are fetching the data, right? Like household, admins
Mm-hmm.
and customer details and professional
Mm-hmm.
details. So here,
Mm-hmm.
what is this API is doing? Why the rules we are not applied here, and because we are not communicating with app, right? We want to fetch the data in this project also, right? Like mad one.
Okay, so if you have mentioned it, I will just talk about it. So in Madven, I think I don't know if I have any Mad1 project on. Okay, so in Mad1, you have pretty much backend only. So you were rendering your Jinja templates, okay, and Jinja comes from Flask, okay. So
Yeah,
if I
correct.
say if I say your front end is backend or your like your front end is different and your backend is different, that was not the case, right? You were running a single server and that was your backend server, and you were doing all the things on that backend server, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So because of the front end, we are using API high. Can I understand like that?
Yeah. So now the point I was going to do explain after this. So in Mat2 project, we create two different two different like say app instances. Okay, so one app instance is your front end. So one is view front end instance. So that will run on different server, and then you have backend Flask backend and API that is running on different server. Okay, now you will
Yeah,
fetch
got. Yeah.
you will fetch data from Vue, uh, uh, like you will fetch using Vue syntax and functionalities, and you will fetch data from here. So that's now what you are doing in Mat2, that is like fetching data from Vue, getting data from this APIs, Flask-based APIs. This is a communication between applications, right? You have your Vue application, another instance, and you have your Flask backend application, that is another instance, right?
Yeah, got.
So
Yeah.
in your Mat2 project, your front end will fetch data from your backend, okay? But your in your Mad1 project, you were directly hitting the backend, and your backend was rendering data within HTML template. Got it?
Yeah, understood. Yeah,
So,
understood. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
so both are open in different servers.
Sorry.
Both are open on different servers, backend and front end.
I think I'm not able to hear you properly. Like you are saying something both.
Both are open on backend and front end. Both are open on different servers.
Yeah. Both will run on different servers. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so just for example, don't worry about those things, but just for example, but I think I'll have to create a
like the
okay.
backend is
Okay,
fetching data from.
I think Pratham has already shown you those things, right? When he demoed that Mat2 project, he has run like backend folder and like backend server and front end server. You guys would have seen that, right? Or you have joined later
CLI
or
he has
something.
shown like yeah.
Yeah, as I have already shown you earlier,
Yeah. So that's
like in
why
the
that's
case of,
why we have like demoed the whole application. So like you get the idea we are running different servers, we are
see,
fetching from one
if
another.
if I recall from what we have seen in the influencer sponsor engagement platform, if you are thinking that we are only running the only one server, that was the Flask server and not the Vue server, right? You are confused with that thing, right? So if that is the thing, then just recall what I have said, that we are using Vue with CDN. That means instead of running the Vue server, we are just using the Vue with the CDN thing, but hosting it on the same Flask server. So just with one server, we are returning the API also and then using that in the front end part also. Okay.
I think if we talk about Vue, that's why we are not talking about Vue that much. If we talk about Vue at now, like you will get like too much confusion and stress. So please focus on the backend part. Okay. Once we move forward, you will get the ideas why we are doing those things.
Like, can you just summarize that? But like the backend is front end is fetching data from Flask server, right?
Yep.
Yes. Front end is fetching data from the
Okay.
Flask
Okay. Okay.
server,
Let me
or you
just
can say
show them a one example. Okay. Let me create a new window.
And the backend is fetching data from the like the model. It is not fetching from any server. It is not using any API, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I have opened an instance. If I say, I don't know what this mat took. Okay. Okay. If I open this mat2 project, now this is I think this is a household project. Yeah. This is my mat2 household project. Okay. Now if I need to run this project, so if I run my front end, which will be python3 main.py, but my application will not serve on this. Okay. So
yes.
if
I will
I
open this and show them. Yeah.
yeah, if I open this, okay, where is my browser?
Yes, these are
Okay,
the
so you are this is saying URL not found because I haven't defined any slash URL like this in my backend. Okay, so now this is not work. This is saying not defined. Okay, but this URL we will not be opening this URL in our front browser. Okay, what we will open, we will run our Vue server, and I think so. This is what you will run in future when you will work with your Vue frontend. So now I have run the frontend server. So in Mat2, you will be running the backend server different, frontend server different. Your frontend will fetch data from your backend. Okay. Now when I ran the frontend server, you are seeing it's giving this different URL. Okay. And this is running on 5173, which is White's default port. So this application is White Vue plus White. Now White is a bundler. I am not going. I will not go into detail. That thing that will come in your front end part. But let's just open this URL for the moment. And yeah, if I open this, you can see this. This is working, right? Now, when you will enter details and you will sign in, then it will hit your backend URL and there it will process the result. Okay.
So in Mat2 project, we are completely interacting with the front end part, and it is like pulling data from the Flask server using the APIs.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I'm getting the clarity now.
Yep.
Thanks.
So let's say you want to make a dummy weather application. Okay. So you want to make a application where you want to show the weather data. That's fine, right? So now you cannot get a weather data. Like you don't have, like you cannot get weather data on your own. Like you don't have like satellites and different a bunch of team setup for getting the weather data, right? How you will get the weather data? You will get the weather data from someone else. So like government has their website where they give the weather data. So now you want weather data to show on your platform. Okay. And how you will get the data from that government website? You will use APIs. Now, in this case, what you are doing? You are not doing anything in the front end, in back end, right? You don't have any databases or any endpoints or anything in your backend. So you designed a front end, and then in your front end you are fetching data from that government weather website, and then what data you receive, that data you are showing on your front end. Okay. This example makes any sense?
Yes, sir.
And see, if it's not possible that my answers can satisfy, if you have 50, all of you can get a little bit of like bits and pieces, but if you are not clear with things, go and search and learn like what API is, why API is important, and why we are using APIs. Okay. So it's not like what you learn here, that's it. Just go and explore different things. Okay. Anyway, I will stop these servers. Now, why APIs are essential? This allow different software system to talk to each other. Again, like we have already talked about it. And yeah, promote the separation of concerns by dividing into independent components. So now, in your Mad1 project, you were writing, you were doing everything on a single server. You have your front end, you have your backend. Here you will be like, you can say we are not talking about HTML templates or any HTML syntax at all. We will be just doing everything in Flask Python. Okay. We will not write a single piece of HTML code here. So that's what we say separation of concerns. So we are developing the APIs and everything. We are not doing any front end part. Okay. We will do that later. Again, like if you say connect third party services, this is what mean when I was explaining, like if I want to fetch data from your server. Okay, how I will do that? Or you are fetching weather data from government website, so that's, you are connecting with third party services, right? That's what it is. Okay, now you would have heard about RESTful APIs. So RESTful API is not a part different or I will say type of API. So it's not a type of API. So this is just a set of protocols which, so if a API is following the set of protocols defined by RESTful, it's a RESTful API. Okay. Now what are that set of protocols? Those are stateless. Now, this is the most important thing. When we say stateless, what we mean. Now, if I say you guys have already learned what stateless means in MAD1, but again, I will explain it here. And again, I will not go into much details. If you want to learn into much details, just go and browse about stateless. Stateless means what it's written here. Each request from the client contains all the necessary information. Okay. Now, say you go to a application, you log in, you put your credentials and you log in. Now your backend server processed your result and it forgot about it. It don't like it doesn't know if where you are on the front end page or anywhere else. Okay. Now then if you from login page, when you go to the dashboard page, you are sending the URL and whatever required information is there. Then the backend server is again processing your request based on your input. Like you are hitting a URL. So when you are hitting your URL, you are giving the required info. Like I want to access this dashboard URL with this data and other things. So now in this case, application doesn't know anything about it until you hit the URL. Once you hit the URL, it gets data from you. It processes your request, returns a response, and then again it doesn't know where you are or where if you are on dashboard page. Like if even if its result returns the response for the result dashboard page, it doesn't know if you are on a login page or dashboard page or like some other page. Okay. So it's not storing your states. So on which state you are, it's not storing that. So in if I say like a high level example in MAT2, when you will log in, you will get a security token from your backend server. Now that security token will be saved in your browser. Okay. And every time you send a request, you will be giving that token with your request. Okay. So again, your backend server doesn't know about like what is your status and which page you are, like what you are doing on browser and like anyway. And it will, when you will hit the URL, when you will call the backend server, you will give the required details. Then it will process that request and then again forget about you. Like if you are a like you have requested something earlier. Okay. So like it is like if say you log in and it stores your data in the backend server, like just like your token or something else. So then it is not a like stateless, like it's storing your token and other thing. And if you are routing to dashboard page, it's storing like this user has logged in at that time, and it is as of now on dashboard page. So that's where it's storing your state and everything. The browser knows like the backend server knows like you are on this page. Okay. But it doesn't know anything about you. All it does, when you request a URL with all the required data, it processes your request and returns a response. So if you are going to do some operation, you will have to do all, you will have to tell all the required things about with like related to that operation to the backend server in order to process with that response. It's not something like you can assume that like backend server already knows who I am, like where I am, what I am doing. Okay. It knows nothing about you. So that's what stateless means. I think I have explained in pretty much detail, but even if you are not clear, just go and browse what stateless means. And this is one of the most important things, like most important rule when you say RESTful APIs. Okay. Anything on this? Okay. Once you move forward to this resource based, now this resource based means, again, if you are stateless, browser doesn't know anything about you. If you want to access something, you will have to give the resource. Okay. So if you want to get the user details, and you know this is the API like slash user slash whatever details, everything, you will have to give that URL. I think you will be worrying about like this is the standard way to do these things. Like why then it's explicitly saying these things. But there are other different ways to do other things. Okay, so that's why these rules and rules are defined. Like this is how RESTful API is supposed to work. Okay, so like when you access the uh, when you want to access something, like you want to access product data, you give that detail in your URL. That's how browser knows like you are trying to access some resource, and you have given the data related to that resource in your URL or in your request body. Okay. And then as other things, RESTful APIs also work with HTTP methods. Please take a clear look of the HTTP methods. You use get to retrieve data, like fetch user details. You use post to create new data, like add a new user. You use put patch to update existing data, like edit user details. Now a bit detail of put and patch, why you have two different methods for updating data. So if you are doing any bulk update operation, you use put, and if you are doing any minor update operation, you use patch. Okay, that's a basic simple definition of put and patch. So if I say you are editing all the fields of a say product. So if you have a product, you have product details, and you are updating product details, you can use put method there. But again, if you but let's say if we have a uh, what we were doing in household. So if you have a pending service professional request, like their service professional have registered, and you want to approve the service professional. So when you approve the service professional, most of the time it will be a field within the table where you will be updating that like this is now approved, right? So it's a very minor updating operation. So there you can use patch. Again, you are independent to use put and whatever you want. Like you can use patch for product update also. That's not a problem. But that's what like a basic definition of put and patch is. Okay. Then you have delete to remove data. That is very simple. And then in RESTful API, you use JSON or XML to send or receive data. And here in our case, we will be using JSON to get the data and to send the data. So we will get the JSON data from frontend, from Vue when we fetch when the Vue will fetch a URL, and we will also return the JSON response to a to the like JSON response in the for the for the request. Yep. Now, if you don't know about what JSON is, again, I will not be explaining what JSON is. Just go and browse what JSON is. Okay. Now, uh, so anything about on this, like, so like from Viva point of view, if like the like on a high level, a proctor can ask like, what is a RESTful API? What do you mean by RESTful API? So we will say it's a set of principle, and if a API is following those set of principles, it is a RESTful API. Okay. Now
The proctor asked me in my Med 1 Viva, what are the constraints of RESTful API?
constant? Sorry, like
What the question was like, what are the constraints of RESTful API?
yeah. So those constraints are like set of principle. So these are the constraints. Like it is stateless. It should be resource based. It should use HTTP methods, and it should like deal in JSON or XML data. Okay, these are the constraints. So what you have told him at that time?
हाँ ये अभी मुझे स्टेटलेस वाला बताया था और तीन याद नहीं लेकिन
हाँ
नोट्स
हाँ
बना के मैंने बताया था पहले।
हाँ, सही है, ठीक है. I think this is the stateless thing is the most important thing. Okay, about the RESTful API. And this is pretty much conveys the message representational state transfer. So when you request a URL, you like re- represent your state to that backend server to like process your request. So that's why you have that representational state transfer. Okay, now I will come to type of APIs. So this is type of APIs not in the, so this is type of APIs from the uh, like syntax or development point of view, how we are writing the code. Okay, from that point of view. Okay, so first one is route based API and second one is class based API. So class based API, this will be simple as your Python class, like how you define class and other things in Python. Now I will explain what a route based API looks like and and how a class based API looks like. Okay, so for a route based API, you can do it with this app instance also. So if I write slash API slash, and if I return a response, sorry, if I return a response in JSON format, so message, so in simple, JSON format is just a dictionary format where you have key value pair, but you can search and learn about it in detail. Okay, I will return a message. This is a route based API. So again, this is the traditional route based API. Now if I don't know if the server, okay, I will run the server. If I hit this URL slash API slash, you got the response, right? This is a route based API. You guys know what method we are using here when we hit this URL?
Get method.
Okay, if anyone doesn't know like which method we are using, can you just say something like just say I don't know or something so I can explain you. But I think most of you have idea like when we are fetching, when we are doing something like this kind of fetch where we don't have to provide any details or anything, it's a get request. I think like most of you know. And if you see in the terminal, you can see it's sending a GET request to this slash API slash server slash route. Okay. And for the mad one people, I will also do it. How you define what kind of methods. When I say method, it means those HTTP methods, right? Get, post, and delete and put. Okay. So how you define a method for a URL? So again, this is the principle. If you want to fetch a URL, you'll have to give some method with which method you want to fetch that URL. Okay. So so in general, when you define a URL, okay, this means this URL, you can fetch this URL with GET request. So by default, it's a GET request. But explicitly, if you want to define, like if you want to do a post, if you want to fetch this URL with post method also, so you'll have to define that post method. And how you will do that? You will write methods, and then you will give a list, and you will write post. Now, the moment you define the method explicitly, the get default thing is not there. So now, earlier it was working with get request also, get method also, but now it will not work with get. Why? You have defined the custom methods here. Like these are the method which should be work with this URL. In that case, now if you want to fetch this URL with get, you will have to write get here. Okay. You'll have to write get here. Now, for the moment, let's say if I remove this, the server is running, and then if I just reload this URL, okay, there is something wrong. Let's okay, now you can see it's showing method not allowed. Why method not allowed? Because we are fetching this URL with get method, and we haven't defined that get method here. Okay, we have defined post here. So once we write get here also, okay, I think I'll have to write debug here in order to just
Debug spelling.
debug. I think that's trailer of something I will do extensively in coming sessions. So please keep your focus on the screen so you can rectify my spelling mistakes. Okay. Now we have defined the get URL, and now if I reload the page, you will get the message. Now, if I want to fetch this URL with the post method, you cannot do that from the browser traditionally. So we use API testing applications tools to do that. Explicitly send a request, and I have installed Thunder Client extension. You can install it from here. You can install Postman also. Okay, I haven't installed Postman, but I have Thunder Client. It's also a API testing tool. And once you install it, it will look something like this. And then click on new request. It will give you a UI, something like this. And then you can put your URL here. So what URL we are fetching? Okay. We are fetching this URL. and we are fetching with post method. Okay, let's see for get, let's see with get once. So if I send this, you got the response, and if I send this, again you got the response. But the moment I remove this from here, now you only have get, and if I send a request with post, it's saying method not allowed. You are trying to access the URL with the method which is not defined for that URL. Okay, got it? Any doubt, anything? And please keep a eye on the status codes. So like you can see here, you are getting 405 and method not allowed. So if you try to access a URL with a method which is not defined for that URL, you get 405 status code error saying method not allowed. Any doubt on this, or the things I have explained, like
No,
fetching
sir.
an endpoint with the request? So what I have explained here for Mat 2 people, this doesn't mean anything, but we have some Mat 1 also. So for you guys, this is how you will work with things in Mat 1.
It's clear, sir.
Okay, so and if I do some mistake, like we have defined the /API/URL, if I remove the P from the URL and if I send this, now you are getting 404 and not found. So this is the status code for some resource you are trying to access which is not there. So we are trying to access /AI/URL which is not defined on our backend server. So you will get 404 not found. I hope I am clear with things. So okay, let's go to this. Okay, so now this was our traditional Flask API route based. Okay, now if you want to do the class based API, how we will do that? So let's say uh, we define a class. So class home, and then we define a function like welcome. We'll have self here, and what we are doing here, okay, so it's not returning anything, but we will return the same. Okay, we will this is class based API. And it's a good practice to write status codes with your response, like browser will do it automatically, but when you write API, it's your responsibility to write the status codes. So when you are returning a message, it means everything is fine, and you will do 200 means status is okay. If you hit the API with get everything, think our browser is not running backend server. Okay, now when everything is fine, you are getting a response, it's showing 200 okay code. Okay, you can see the green color and everything. Okay, so when we define class based APIs, we don't write function names like welcome, like anything. We don't write function names, custom function names. What you write here is the method names. So if you want to define like we were resulting the this message when we with the get request. So you will write get request here. Okay, so let's say 200. Now how we will call this? We will call this with a URL. So this is the part where I make mistakes most of the time, but let's see. Okay, so when you will hit slash API, or I will say slash class, and I will change the name to home class, and here you can call your so we define this with a URL. So I will write house API and you write home here. Sorry, home. Okay, and now here you call the get function. House API, sorry, house API dot get. Okay, now if I hit the URL, let's see the backend server. It is API class. Okay. Okay, I think we'll have to return it. So where is it? Return. Okay, server is running. Now you got the message, right? So as of now, if you see these things, it doesn't make any sense. Why it doesn't make any sense? Because we are not processing anything within those requests. We are just returning a simple message. But once we do those things, it will make more sense. Okay. Now the thing is that why I have shown you this, like this is the way to call the class based APIs. But when we will when we will develop the APIs, we won't do that in that way. Why? Because we will use uh, something which comes from Flask, that is Flask RESTful library, and there we have resource and other things. So we will work with that. So if we go to first of all, that's how you write what I say class based APIs. Okay, so you have class home, you have a function which is your get method, and this is how you write it. And if you say we write def post, although it's not a good idea to return responses with get type of responses with post, but let's see class based post API. Okay, let's define these functions. So if request dot method For people who haven't completed Mad1 project, don't get worried about these things. I will explain it. If not today, tomorrow. Like what we are doing with the request thing. Okay, don't get worried about that. So if it's a if it's a request with post method, we will call the post function, and if it's a get method, we will call the get method. Now we got the message for our from our post method, like class-based post API. Now, if you see on a URL, we need to define the get post, and then we need to check if its request is post and like whether it's get or post. Then we are returning responses based on those things. Okay, but when we will work with the Flask RESTful API library, which we are getting from Flask itself, there we just have to register our this class home, and then we can define the URLs, only one URL /API/class, and then we can send request with different methods, and we don't need to check the post method whether it's post or get. It will handle those things by itself. Okay, so okay, if I go, I don't know if we have any, like let's search for Flask RESTful APIs. Let's say example of. Okay, we have a blog on Medium. Okay, if you see here, and here it has said like let's set up our project. Okay, and when he said like let's set up our project, what he has done, like he has pip install Flask, which we have done, and then he did this. Okay, so now you can see what I have explained earlier, like this is how you set a basic Flask app. Okay, Mad1 guys should be clear by now, like what it is and how you do it. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think we got here. Okay, so here you can see it's using Flask RESTful, and it's importing resource and API instance. Then it's using API instance to create the API instance and register this API with our app. And then how he is defining class and then different methods within that class. Okay, now if you see here, he has defined two different uh, classes for two different methods, like for the same method. Now if you say like class name is same, and you have a def get here, why can't you write the same thing within this first class itself? So the reason is that within a class, if I say this is a class, so within a class, you can write a method only once. So you cannot define two get methods within a single class. So you cannot do something like this. So you cannot do something like this. Okay. So what you can, within a class, you can define a one get, one post, one put, one patch, and one delete. That's all. Okay, so a broader example, if I give you, like just if I, let's say you want to create a authentication class. So if you create authentication class, okay, I will just write auth. Now you have created this class, and now within this class you want to process the login and registration. Now you guys know when you log in and you register, you send data with your request, right? And when you are sending data with your request, you use post method. Now within authorization, to write the login method, login function and sign up function, you will have to use post method twice, right? But you cannot do something like this, like I will write def post and we will say this will be our login function, and then say I will declare another same method within this class, and I will say this will be our sign up one. Okay, so that's now it's supposed to, that's now how it works. You will have to define another class if you want to use the post method. Okay, so this is what I'm explaining right now. This is how you will use these classes, different classes in your project. Okay, now where were we? Okay, so let's quickly set up our Flask RESTful. What so again, I think it's a good resource, so we will just we can like take inspiration from here anyway. So I think so what was our topic here? Okay, so it was route based API and class based API. So okay, so again you can say, you can again say this thing, like you said route based API, then you declared a route here, and when you said class based API, again you declared a route to access it. Okay, but that's something which is kind of a loophole. Like you will have to use a route everywhere, but to process the request, you are using class based functions and definitions. Okay, so okay, so any doubt or anything on this point? And if you guys are not 100% clear with this thing, once we will move ahead, you will get the clear understanding of different things. Okay, so maybe in tomorrow's class I will explain you like this is important for mat 2 guys, like how you can convert your mad1 APIs, mad1 functions in class based APIs and in route based APIs. So I will explain both. For a for one function I will explain both, but we will continue with class based APIs. Why? Because in this you will get to learn something new, and we want you to learn something new, not to just do the same thing.
So we
Okay,
can use either of them, right?
yeah, you can use either of them. That's why like I will explain you both, like how you can convert. So when you will be converting your mad1 functions in API, and if you are not going with this approach, it will be very easy. You will just have to like change the way to take data from the request and return the data from. That's all. Like other, the whole part will be same. You'll have to just change the way to get the data from the request and return the data as a response.
You mean return a data is JSON,
Yeah, yep,
JSONify, right?
yep.
Oh,
Okay,
And one more thing
so
in this,
mhm.
yeah, and if you are using that way, then include all the methods. Like if you are defining any API, then keep all the methods, right? Don't just use get and post only, because you already know that with post you can even delete things, you can even create things, right? But use all the methods like get, post, put, and delete. So that's
Okay.
make your
So,
API complete.
what Pratham is saying here, So the guy for the guys who have completed MAD1 project, so if you have like created different functions there, so suppose you have created a let's say what was that service table, okay? So for service related operations, so when you was creating a service, you were using post request. When you are editing a service, you are using post request. When you are deleting a service, you are using post request or get request. I'm not saying all of you have done the same thing, but most of you would have used a get post, that's all. But when you write APIs here, you will use different like specific methods for a specific request. So if you want to delete a resource, you will use delete resource. Like you will use delete here, okay? If you want to delete a service or whatever resource you have, if you want to edit that resource, you will use put method or a patch method for that, okay? And this is important from the grading point of view. So if you are not writing the class based APIs, so with class based APIs this is like obvious. So you, as I said, you cannot get a custom function name here. Like you cannot say like I can write like this is my like this is welcome function and it will work with get request. No, you will write the method here, not any other name. So this is obvious with class based APIs, but if you are going to write APIs in traditional way, which is like route based, so there you will have to use the specific methods. Otherwise they will it can like affect your Viva grading and the other things, okay? So just keep that thing in mind.
So for each
So
route, we have to create classes.
I think so as I already said, like we will start doing those things tomorrow. So as we progress, you will get the idea. Okay.
Okay, okay. And one thing, we are making the code modular, right? Like last time in Med1, we written everything in main.py, but this time I want like to
Yeah, yeah,
make
yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah,
modular.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Sai, you can like it was not something like why we use a single file, because you are new student. So if we make complexities, then you will get confused. You will like get stressed about different things, and that's the problem. But here we can like create like bunch of files. You can write a single API in a single file. That's okay. Like,
Oh, okay,
okay.
okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Where
yep.
the requirement also, because for us to start, I think that is also needed.
Sorry.
A
So
requirement,
when you say requirement, you mean requirement of dependencies or the requirements of the project?
no dependencies. What are to be installed for
Yeah.
us to?
See. So if you want to create a Flask, so what I have covered today, I have just set up a basic Flask. So all you can see, I have used a Flask. So if you want to replicate the same thing which I have done today, you'll just have to install Flask. So again, in dependencies, I have installed the Flask only, right? I have already shown you there, like
Yeah,
pip install Flask. So whatever dependencies I will be using next, I will give a pip install example of that, even though it's already installed in my system. But
okay, thanks. Yeah.
if you want to get a general idea, I would just write it here. So we will be using Flask. We will be using Flask RESTful. We will be using Redis for caching. We will be using Celery. We will be using Flask course. We will be using Flask caching. Then we will be using Flask JWT extended. Yep, I think, yeah, I think, okay, we will be using Flask SQL Alchemy for our uh, database related operations. ALC, okay, CHEMI, okay. So these are the dependencies. If you want to install it at once, you can just write pip install, and then you can remove these commas which I have put here. I think I will, if I remove all, then it will be removed from here also. Okay, you can remove these commas like this, and it will install all the things at once. Okay. You don't have to give any version or anything. When you will run this command, it will install the latest version of those dependencies. Okay. And I would say one more thing, like I would suggest, like if you guys have done any kind of experimentation, or you have installed different kind of dependencies and whole other things in your terminal earlier, okay, so either uninstall all the dependencies, clear your system, or create virtual environment. Otherwise there can be a conflict of different so what I am saying, if you will install this freshly, there will be no class version conflict. But if you have done anything experimental in your PC earlier, then if you install these things, it is possible, like it's very, like there are very less chance, but it is possible that you can face any uh, version conflict. So yeah, I hope it's clear, like your doubt related to requirements.
Just want to ask one thing, like as we discussed, like we converting from Med 1 to Med 2. So,
Mm-hmm.
so we need to manually set up these things like delete, put, because as we know in Med 1 we have done only get and post only in whole house or project,
Mm-hmm.
correct? So
Mm-hmm.
while converting to Justify, like you will to, means tell tomorrow itself.
So in tomorrow's class, I will take a full example of so say you had service in your previous project, okay? You had get for that service, like where you were fetching the result for that service. You have a post, you have a add service, update service, delete service, right?
Correct.
So that's what okay, for Madvan guys, I will write that's what CRUD means for a resource. So if you write, if someone say CRUD for a resource, it means create, read, update, and delete. Okay. So for a resource, I will give you an example tomorrow how to convert those CRUD functions, create, read, update, delete, into APIs, like normal route APIs, and then class based APIs. So once we are done with that, once we are done with the example, we will continue with class based APIs only. Okay. So if you want to use class based APIs, and I would recommend you to use class based APIs. This is something new, you will learn something new. And but anyway, if you want to use like the traditional way like this, you can use that too. Yeah, any doubt, anything else? So what's the time? 10:50. Okay, so we are running 20 minutes. Okay. Okay, any doubt, anything else?
Sir, the mail we received later today, like it
Mhm.
was ti.dy, something like that. What was that? It was from Project Help You only, or a recording or anything.
Sorry. I think if we have someone here from
LP.
Project Help.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, so I'm saying that is from the note taker of Project Help. And if you guys want to take the summary of it, that's good. Otherwise, you can ignore those mails. Okay?
Okay, we can access that, right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
I think those AI companion and other things, you will get messages after the meet, like here is your meet note and this is
Yeah,
And
the
the
also,
summary.
summary thing would be shared with you guys.
Yeah, so
Those.
that message, like that mail receive, like so all the participants receive that mail. That is by default. Okay.
and also the Git
Yes,
the
yes,
Git
yes.
one that
The
you.
good things will be
Yeah, so
the good
Pratham
things
has
will be
already
shared
said that
tomorrow.
he will give how to do Git setup. I think tomorrow or later. I don't know.
Tomorrow we will do the Git setup so
Yeah.
that you can,
So,
before starting your application, you can start the Git setup. You can done
We'll
the Git setup.
receive the recordings also, right?
Yes, yes, you will receive the recordings also.
yes, Raman. So okay. So to Ayush, this was the first session. So and even if I say some people has registered till like after the session has started, like after 8:30. So we were
Uh,
like,
no, to add on here, we got the last registration at 10 as well.
okay. So I think yeah, I think that's something. Yeah. So like uh, to starting the session late when you do something for the first time, you'll have to wait for the other student to join the meet. Okay. But
Uh,
we
uh,
will from tomorrow. So for all of you, we don't wait for anyone from tomorrow. We will write at the moment, right? Like we will start right at 8:30. Even if you have one student, you guys can join later as per your whatever is feasible for you. You can access the recordings. And for people who don't know about the recordings, you can access the recordings till the last date of your uh,
Submission.
last cycle's deadline. Okay. So if your last cycle deadline is if your third, I
30th
think
of
your
March.
third, yeah,
30th March.
31st March. Yeah. So you can
For
say
now
you
it is
can access
30th
the.
March. For now it is 30th March, but maybe they will extend it later. Maybe
Hmm.
because they have said that it is not
Ah,
covered
if they are
authentication.
extending for 2 3 days or 5 days, we will give the access for this extension time also. Okay. So don't worry
sir,
about those things.
sir, there is a
Yep.
request like if possible, if you are
Hmm.
making that video that you told us about earlier, like the inst- uh, the uh, the starting part of the project. So
Hmm.
if you can add these installing dependencies and all in one video, it would be helpful, like for Mat 1 also and on Mat 2 also. Then so that you can also share that video for the installation and other parts that is required to prepare laptops or the machine for the project. So in one
Yeah. So
that
we have already discussed about that. So maybe if we get time
See what we do.
tomorrow, yeah,
Yeah.
we will share the
Firstly, what we
recordings.
do is we will share the recordings if possible. Otherwise, we will
Yeah,
share
I
some
was
videos
just
which
adding
will help
that
you.
please add that dependencies and other thing also in that video so that it will be a full packed video for everything
Yep,
to
yep,
prepare it.
yep, yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Then we will do that thing. No
thank you,
worries.
sir.
And I
Tomorrow we
think
will be setting up the
Pratham,
Git also.
yeah. So if you are creating that video, you can cover that Git thing also.
No, no. Tomorrow I will be telling the Git thing in meeting also only. So if required, I will do that in video also.
Okay. No worries. Okay, so yeah, and one other thing, I don't know if the management guys have told you or not, but please share your for the students who has registered later, we have like asked for the personal email IDs, but if you guys haven't given the personal uh, email IDs yet, just DM one of us to like one of us your personal email IDs because we will give access to those IDs. Like you will get the session recording access on personal email IDs, not the IITM one.
You guys can send your personal mail ID to the person who sent you the invite link for the registered group DM. Okay.
And please take it serious, because until you give your personal UID, you don't get the access for the recording sessions, right? So I hope this is clear.
Tomorrow,
So
be ready with your,
yeah.
if you have done your Madden project, so after the tomorrow session, you can learn how to set up your Git repository and also push your project, Madden project even into the GitHub. You can learn that also tomorrow.
Okay, I think it's time we can wrap up the
Yeah.
session. Yeah, we have only 14 students. Okay.
Anyone doubts? Anyone? Any more doubts?
Anything, any general doubts or anything?
Just please share that packed video so that we should
Yeah,
see.
Yeah,
yeah,
that we will.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that we
Yeah.
will do.
Thank you.
Yeah, general doubt is like as we are proceeding in this project with the CLI. So
Mm-hmm.
as of now, I have done some of my works. So
Mm-hmm.
in CDN alone. So can I proceed with that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
you can
yeah.
proceed with that. Yes,
Okay,
I
so
already said that you can continue with it.
yeah, so the reason uh, behind using the CLI, it will be better for us to explain you guys the code of front end.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
that I understand. That I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. So you can continue with your CDN. Like all of the guys are free to use whatever they want to use. You can use CDN
Actually,
CLI. Okay.
actually, previous sessions that were recorded by ITM for this
Yeah.
project.
So IITM don't use CLI. They use CDN.
Mhm, correct, correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
And they have used Vue 2 also there. So I am continuing that Vue 2 also means because I have done some of my part.
Yeah.
So
Don't
so
get
that is
confused
fine, I
with
think,
Vue 2,
right?
Vue 3. Yeah. Don't get confused with Vue 2, Vue 3. This is just like Python 3.9, Python 3.10 and all. Don't get
Uh,
confused with that. Okay. And one more thing, I will, when we start with the front end part, I will explain you how you can convert your code in written in, let's say, CLI to code which will be working in the CDN. So
Hmm.
don't worry for that. Just you have to change the file names and small things up and down, and that will work for you.
So
okay, okay.
one thing, sir. So basically, we will be working on Ubuntu, right? The for Windows, we will be using Windows. Then that in that will be the VS Code
For
will be
all those,
using that
yes,
WSL.
yes, yes. See, the
Yeah.
thing is, if you are a window user, then one thing is recommended for all of you that either install the vir- uh, what we call virtual box in your system, and then inside the virtual box install Ubuntu
Okay.
completely.
Virtual
Other way
block.
is
Virtual. What you
virtual
said?
box,
Virtual.
virtual box. Virtual
Okay.
box is
Okay.
just like a small software which will help you install any operating system inside that software, so that you will have your Windows, and inside Windows your Ubuntu will be running. Your complete
Okay.
Ubuntu, not
It's
the,
is it available on Microsoft Store?
yeah, it is not available on Microsoft. You should download it from the Oracle website. It is
Okay. Okay.
available there. Just Google it how to download the VirtualBox Oracle.
Okay.
Just install it, and after that you can
Then
install Ubuntu there and make
then
your
there will
complete
be
project in
no
Ubuntu.
okay. Then there will be no need to use WSL, right? That the one
Yes,
thing that
yes.
sir discussed.
Then there will be no need to use WSL. And other way is if you are using the WSL, then make your complete project in the WSL as I have shown you. Like open
Okay.
the VS Code and install the extension for WSL and click on
Okay.
the remote connection and then connect it with WSL. And whatever files you are making, make in the WSL so that it works fast. Because I have seen
Okay.
many students, uh, they what they do is they make the project in the Windows, and while running the project in the WSL and making the dependency install and making the node modules all these things, they stuck at there because you are not submitting your node modules or even the virtual environment in the project, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Got.
Mm. And those things are around hundreds of to hundreds of MBs. So if you are not doing that thing and let's say 500 MB things you are copying from Windows to then WSL, that takes a lot of time, around 15-20 minutes it's safe. And if your system is weak, then it will take around half an hour. And your complete Wi-Fi time will be gone. And from this time, if we have seen in the project statement also, that if you are not able to run your app within 10 minutes, then you will be marked as failed in the
Okay.
11
Got it.
highlights.
Got
So
it, sir.
that's why I advise you, run the application in WSL only or make the complete project in Ubuntu itself so that there is
Sir,
no.
there is one more doubt. I have
Yes,
registered for MAD 1 and MAD 2 also. So
okay.
for this, I will be using the MAD 2 thing that will be using that will be making it. It will be connected to MAD 1, right? Because I will be studying that MAD 1 from the project LP only. Then I will be working on backend for the same, so that I could make MAD 1 and MAD 2 both in this term.
See, see, the thing is, there are two ways for you.
Okay.
Two different thinkings. One thinking is make the same project as
Yes, sir.
backend app and the frontend app.
Yes, sir.
That
Yes,
means
sir.
full stack app and the backend app only. That is for
Yes.
that case you have to make the quiz master completely.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Other way is if you think like a way that you will have two projects, two different projects, then you can think
Yeah.
like make the MAD one project as quiz master and make the master project as house of
I'm
services.
not thinking about
That will
that. I am just thinking to take one project and complete it from full stack.
okay. Then you can just use that one only.
Okay. So these boot camps would be like supporting within this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much,
For
sir.
that thing, you need to understand how to set up the database first because in Quizmaster, the database thing is there and how to set up all these things. You will get to know in the Madden Bootcamp and tomorrow also they would be doing that. The basic telling of how this database is made in a quick
Yeah. Yeah.
recap
Got it.
video.
Got it. Got it, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Any more doubts, anyone? Okay. Thank you everyone. We can end the
Yeah, you guys can leave the meet now. Guys, you can leave the meet now.
So let's tell me you can stop the recording.
Yeah,